of the Bank of England or the Home Office, not the elected politicians who are trying to get things done. And if you look at the last 14 years of Conservative government, now many mistakes were made. But a lot of the time, those Conservative ministers were actually operating in an environment that was fundamentally hostile to what they were trying to do. And what I'm saying to people is we're going to have this dreadful Keir Starmer government for some time. But I think there will be a new government in 2029. I think British people will be thoroughly fed up. But unless that government does something about the permanent bureaucracy, unless they repeal all those Blairite laws like the Climate Change Act, the Human Rights Act, nothing in this country will change. The same bureaucrats will still be in charge.
I want to pick up on that in a bit about the future of who might govern this country and how they should do it. But I want to go back to your time in office as Prime Minister, because it's quite rare to be able to sit down to a former Prime Minister who speaks as candidly as you do about what really goes on. And you talk about your mini budget, which today, swathes of the mainstream media, the legacy media still sort of talk about. You sent a cease and desist letter to Sir Keir Starmer saying, you've got to stop saying I crashed the economy. It is not true. And I've only come sort of late to the table on this one in understanding what went on in those 24 hours preceding you actually putting forward your mini budget and the Bank of England's role in all of this. Tell me about that period of time.
So what happened was the day before the mini budget, unbeknownst to me, the Bank of England announced that they were selling £40 billion worth of government gilts. Now, that is a huge amount of gilts to put on the market. And what that essentially did is that queered the pitch. It queered the pitch, and it created a sort of train of events, if you like. It started off a chain reaction in the gilt market. And the problem was that Britain was very exposed to these products called LDIs, which are a type of, it's basically the pension market betting that interest rates would never go up. And what was happening is interest rates were going up, so they were all caught with their trousers down, and they immediately had to sell more and more gilts. Now, it was the responsibility of the Bank of England to regulate financial stability. But what happened is they used the mini budget, which had taken place on the Friday, as the reason there were all these problems in the gilt market. As I've said, they subsequently admitted that 2/3 of all of that market movement that took place in 2022 was down to the whole LDI issue and the fact that these pension funds had been exposed in the same way as lots of financial organizations were exposed in 2008. It was a similar type of financial crisis, but nobody talks about that. The mainstream media doesn't talk about that because they want the narrative that it was my fault. And we're now in the situation